Welcome to Technado with Don Pizzette, featuring sysadmin expert Don Pizzette, security specialist Daniel Lowry, and Peter.
Hello and welcome to Technado with Don Pizzette. I'm your host, Peter Van Rysdam, and I am joined by Don Pizzette. Don, how you doing?
I am doing great. I've managed to find my way to the studio 250 times in a row.
And we keep moving the room, and so that's impressive, even more impressive. You'll have to find your way to a new studio next week. We'll talk more about that in a second, but first we have Daniel Lowry. Daniel, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I did not find my way here 250 times because I haven't been on the podcast.
Oh, that's right. We brought you in late.
I sporadically would come in early,
Yeah.
but then I became a regular guest at around, I don't know, hundo, so maybe less.
Yeah, 120. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I have to go back and look. But
It's whenever the complaints started ramping
right,
up.
yeah. Ratings down, complaints up.
That's how it
It's
works.
a little bell chart, something. But as these guys alluded to, it is a special episode. It is number 250. You can see right behind me. We just came in here, and this was here. So I don't know. For those
The
just
room
listening.
spawned it.
Yeah, there's a big 250 balloon. So thank you to the team, Lauren and Kelly and everyone who got that for us to say congratulations, I think, or just to taunt us. I'm not sure. But yeah, I'll have to find somewhere to put that after this. But speaking of which, we've got some other changes. We're moving next week. So Don, you'll have to find your way to a new place.
Yeah, it's like all the way, 20 feet that way. So I think I can find it.
Because we're still in COVID protocol, technically, that when we split up into different spots. And so I think we've decided, at this point, if we got it, we got it. So, we got a new fancy set that they've been slaving away for weeks to get it ready, and we'll debut that next week, which I'm really looking forward to, mostly because it involves a chair.
Yes, we get to sit down. All this standing.
It's stupid. It's really stupid. They say sitting is the new smoking, and that's fine.
I say we smoke and stand, or and sit at the same time.
Oh, yeah. Smoke them if you got them.
That's right. Maybe we could bring in like UV beams that just cook our flesh
Sure.
while we smoke and sit.
Yeah, just make this the most dangerous podcast that we can think of.
Yeah.
Just by
Honestly, we could use smokeless tobacco, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, chaw.
Chaw. You're just sitting there dipping the whole time.
I don't want
So
my bottom
Don.
jaw. Yeah, why would I want that?
And if you send in a listener mail, you'll get a Technado chaw cup.
Yeah, that's right. Pouches.
Cup.
Yeah.
Hey,
Technado branded pouches.
an empty Aquafina bottle that Don has used. That very one that
man,
he's
that's
got.
it.
Is that
Golly.
Donnie? Yeah.
I got Dasani, yeah.
So another little change, I guess big change that we're doing is we're going to focus less on the guests. We love having the guests come in, but we've got some feedback. You guys really enjoy the news and things, so we'll still have guests, but just on special occasions and really special guests at those times. But we'll be kind of focusing on all the news that's out there. Because each week, Don, you curate from a list and have to pick out items that sound great.
Yeah. So, I filter the news feed as it is down to about 30 or 40 articles. And then the day of filming, I reduce that down to the 5 that we normally cover. And there are plenty of times where we bump things out that should be talked about. There's a few slow weeks where there's only 3 new articles. But most weeks there's a lot.
Only 3 organizations got hacked that week.
Yeah. Yeah, or it's like they're all the same hack, and we're not going to cover it 3 times. But just to prove how good these articles are that we just can't be getting rid of. I mean, this was the most important one from this week from theregister.com. Are they in order of importance, Don?
No, not really.
Okay, good, because this one seemed dumb to me. AlmaLinux comes to Windows Subsystem for Linux. Community-supported, Red Hat-compatible distro, now available to Microsoft fans. So is this something that we knew was coming?
No, this was actually a surprise to me. We reported either last week or the week before, I can't remember, about how AlmaLinux had landed AMD as a sponsor. So AMD is putting money behind the AlmaLinux project. If you've been following all the trials and tribulations of CentOS, which ended support last year, people have been scrambling for a replacement, and it's been kind of a competition between Rocky Linux and AlmaLinux, and it looks like AlmaLinux is pulling ahead quite a bit in recent months. They landed AMD, they have a number of other sponsors, Rocky Linux has sponsors as well, but they have a better community team set up to be able to manage the product. And now they're launching with things like WSL support and even cloud images for deploying in the various cloud services. So making a big leap there. And if you're still on the fence of where you should be moving after CentOS, AlmaLinux is likely the one to go with now.
I got you a question for this. So this is an interesting thing to me because I misunderstood the use case of WSL. I just saw it as like, hey, I want to work in a more familiar environment that is Linux. Give me all those Linux bells and whistles that I'm used to, but I can now do that in a Windows environment. Almost supposed to be kind of like a server operating system, right? Running services and things like that. And we're going to run that in WSL. You're basically running Windows, so you can run WSL.
Sort of, yeah.
Server?
So, the idea is like, let's say that I am deploying a web application that is Node.js. It's designed to run on top of Linux, right? And if I deploy it in AWS, I'm going to have a Linux image,
AMI,
right? That instance will be up, and that's what I'm going to run on. But my work computer is a Windows machine.
Right.
All right, well, I could just do all of my work in AWS, but that slows things down. If I want to just quickly fire something up, I don't want to pay for it, I want to leave it running, that kind of stuff. And so now you have the challenge of running it in a local environment. Well, you could just spin up a VM, right? That would work. But the whole point of doing the cloud is things are supposed to be quick and easy and all that mess. But instead of that, you could leverage WSL, right? You quickly have a Linux environment up and running to be able to test workloads, develop, and then you go and deploy in the actual environment. One challenge is you can't run Red Hat in WSL. It's just not supported. You can't activate the machine. There's ways to kind of like cobble it in there, but it's not officially supported. So having AlmaLinux in WSL means that you could be developing or testing an application on WSL and then deploy on RHEL, and it would effectively be the same environment.
Okay.
Well, going back to what you said earlier, if I've learned anything, it's that Rocky will be down and then make a big comeback. So it's not till he hits the mat a couple of times that he comes back. And I don't know about you.
Does Linus come up and cut its eye?
Yeah.
I didn't hear no bell.
Is there an Apollo Linux?
Yeah,
Is there
Apollo Linux?
Oh yeah. What's the Russian version of this?
What's
Drago.
the Ivan Drago of?
I will destroy you.
If he dies,
That's
he
what it
dies.
was. Yeah. Oh man. Fantastic.
Good movie. Yeah.
It is a great
Great
flick.
movie.
Yeah. If you have not seen Rocky IV, I highly recommend it.
Is Rocky IV the best? I mean, it's hard to have a sequel be better.
I don't know. It's a damn good movie.
It's great.
Yeah.
Right?
1 and 2, it's a different kind of story, right?
Yeah.
1 and 2, it's Rocky, just the everyday man.
It's the story
being a
of the
It's
champion.
guy.
the underdog, right?
Versus Rocky 4, that's America.
That is America.
It's America, yeah.
That is the
versus
Cold
Russia.
War.
Yeah.
Is encompassed.
It was the
in-
apex of the 80s Cold War,
yeah.
kind of stuff.
I'd put that and Red Dawn as like the two best Cold. Well, I don't.
Red Dawn's
Now you got
also
War
a
Games
good
is a
film.
great. I don't know. There's too many good Cold War movies. There's our next segment that we'll do next
man.
time. Favorite Cold War movie.
Yeah, there was a lot of good ones.
Yeah.
That's good. All right, well, let's move on to our next article, which comes to us from ZDNet.com. Microsoft brings ARM support to Azure virtual machines. It's been a long time coming, but Microsoft is making available a preview of Azure VMs supporting ARM-based processors from Ampere.
Yeah, Amazon teamed up, or actually they didn't team up, they developed their own, but Amazon has had ARM instances on AWS for quite some time now, so you can spin up virtual machines that are running with an ARM processor in them. Azure has now followed suit, so they've got that active. Microsoft did it by teaming up with another company that actually makes cloud ARM processors. They have 128 cores. So these are not like Raspberry Pis with 2 cores or 4 cores or whatever. These are specifically designed for cloud deployment. And it's kind of exciting. I've talked to a number of people who said they don't really care if they're on ARM or Intel or whatever, so it doesn't matter. So you might wonder about that. Like, what do I really care? But the main important thing to remember is that these ARM processors, when we calculate out the cost per power unit that's in these things, it's like half the cost of an Intel CPU. And so if you want to push your workload into the cloud, now imagine somebody comes along and says, hey, you can double your resources at no cost.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's what it effectively is.
By Grapthar's hammer.
Yeah,
what a savings.
So see, that's not a Cold War film.
No,
that's
it's
just
not.
a funny film.
No. I almost hit you with Talk to Me, Goose.
Oh, yeah.
So there's another great Cold War film.
So in this case, if you haven't messed with ARM processors for your workloads yet, I think you'll be surprised. In today's day of containers and Kubernetes and all that, your workload will run on top of an ARM processor just as well as it will on an Intel load. And if you can get that for half the cost, your scalability goes through the roof. I mean, if you're just trying to save money, that's one reason to do it. But being able to double your resource allocation without increasing cost, ARM needs to be on your radar.
Yeah, I just saw the preview for the new Top Gun. And
Our processor.
I wonder who they're fighting this time, if it's the Russians or... It was weird to see
that
Maverick...
movie has been like, that was kind of like, they remade Red Dawn, remember?
Yeah.
With Chris Hemsworth, right?
That was terrible.
Well, they had to like,
was the
they
North
keep having to
Koreans,
push
right?
it because it started off as China, right? And then they were like, well, we kind of got some dealings. Well, the Chinese government,
Yeah,
like,
we would like this to be aired in China.
Yes.
That's
they
a lot of
wanted,
money.
They wanted to hit that money gap in China. Therefore, now we got to change it and pivot over to North Korea because they're still everybody's favorite bad guy.
And they're not showing this movie.
Yeah. And, so that was kind of messed it up. And I think we hit the same kind of thing with Top Gun.
But it's weird because it's just Maverick flying a drone from his house.
Yeah, but he
the
has
whole time.
like patches on his jacket and stuff that the Chinese government is a big fan of.
Oh, jeez, I haven't seen that.
Yes.
Did you see the
that's
video of it was Kim Jong-un with the latest missile
the
test?
dramatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got the leather jacket. and the-
he looked like Maverick.
And they're like,
out
I'm
there.
going to point this way. Let's all point this way.
That was funny.
It just goes to show everybody loves Top Gun.
They do,
Right?
because it's a great flick.
Yeah, I wish he had come out on the motorcycle. Like,
Yeah. With Danger Zone playing in the back.
Or played beach volleyball wearing blue jeans.
Yeah. Some Kenny Loggins.
so anyway, that is what's new with Microsoft and ARM. I had nothing to add about the actual topic.
Yeah.
So
Well, there you go.
Well, we covered it.
I was like, how about this? How about that?
Just
All
a
right.
vehicle for us to talk about Top Gun.
Yeah. And how does this relate to Top Gun?
You see, they're fighting over chips.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's the war of the chip shortage.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. All right. Our next article comes to us from hardware.slashdot.org. 40,000 Chromebooks and 9,600 iPads went missing at Chicago public schools during COVID. And those numbers are crazy, but are these computers that were issued to students and then just didn't come back?
Yes. So, when the pandemic hit, a lot of businesses had to scramble to make it where their employees could work from home. And that's one thing. But public schools had it even harder because they needed to get it where the children could go home and still participate in classes. Now, for an adult, you can, usually tell them what to do and they follow directions and it's their job. If they don't do it, you dock their paycheck or whatever. But for students, it's a whole different story. And so schools had it really difficult. And people anticipated that a lot of the equipment that was being sent out with the students wasn't going to come back. Either it would get broken, damaged, stolen, lost, any number of things could happen to
There's
it.
caramel sauce in the ports now.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of gross stuff.
And so now we are starting to see what that number actually looks like. And it's not so bad. It actually works out to about something like 8 or 9% of the amount of equipment that they sent out is not coming back. So, a less than 10% attrition is not the end of the world. I think they probably would have accounted for that. What was more important, though, was that for the last 2 years, these students, at least assuming they had the equipment for any given amount of time, were able to use it and learn from home. And if the equipment doesn't make it back, well, a 2-year shelf life on a Chromebook isn't that big of a deal.
In an unrelated story, Shy Guy 0623 on eBay has started a new store with plenty of iPads and Chromebooks to be had for everyone.
Well, so I thought about that. I was like, if you're sending out all of these laptops, obviously you've got people of different socioeconomic levels,
Yeah.
and some people might be tempted to just sell it on eBay and make some money.
Oh, I lost it.
But Chromebooks in particular, but are kind of like iPhones and iPads, where they have identifiers, they're locked down. You can't resell them. I mean, if you do, they're basically bricked anyway, so
you're
you
selling
can't use them
parts.
for anything.
Yeah.
So I have no doubt that some of them were sold, but the majority of them probably were legitimately stolen, lost, or damaged. I mean, we're talking about kids.
Yeah.
And,
They're gonna throw it in their backpack and then chuck it against the wall and watch it shatter.
Oh, yeah.
We're also talking about Chicago, so they actually did a Chromebooks for Guns program where they would give you a gun for your Chromebook
This is true.
to get them back.
What do they call it? Chirac?
jeez.
They do.
I've
That's like a
not heard
legit
that.
thing. They call it Chirac.
Jeez. It's the green zone.
Because it's more dangerous in Chicago than it was in the green zone in Iraq.
Yeah, how many tours have you done in
Chirac.
Chicago? Yeah.
It's rough out there.
Well, so in this case, in Chicago, it looks like it's higher than that average you were saying. It's about 20% of that. That's what that number what that number
That's the statistic they're giving you in the article.
represents. Thank you. It's like rep or something.
English?
40,000 Chromebooks, 9,600 iPads. So I think maybe next year they'll be switching to the Amazon Kindle Fire tablet, which is like $30.
Dude, so that's a legit nice little buy right there.
It is, yeah.
So I bought the 8 for $45.
Yeah.
And you can easily disable those ads that make it that low in
Exactly,
price.
yeah.
And then you can install Google Play and you're off.
But
the
kids
races.
love
Yourself a
ads,
nice
too.
little- They do because they're idiots. Yeah. I have taught my children that when ads come on, they shut their ears and close their eyes and wait till it's
What?
over.
Yeah. Daddy, no.
I'm like, that's right.
Why
Do
are
not
they-
let them
Why are they doing
infiltrate your
iPads?
mind.
Anyway, I mean that's expensive. The Chromebooks I get because that's the cheaper device. The iPad's pretty expensive.
If you look for educational apps, you'll find that the iOS App Store in general has more and higher quality educational apps than the regular. And a lot of that comes from schools. Schools for a long time have been predominantly Apple, where they have the computer in the classroom and it's a Mac, and so that's how they make that leap over to iOS. Like Apple has done their marketing and lobbying and all of that to make sure that they're the default choice in schools.
Yeah, we had the Apple II GS in our computer labs back in
We had
5th grade.
Apple something. I don't know what
Yeah.
it was.
When you rode your Brontosaurus to school.
Yeah.
That's right. Uphill.
Yeah.
The Brontosaurus did not like that. It's like Jack Black on a
Water buffalo.
Yeah. All right. Our next article comes to us from tomshardware.com. Samsung and Western Digital team up for ZNS SSDs. The two storage companies will jointly develop and promote zoned storage technologies. I didn't know Samsung was considered a storage company, but there they are. So what?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, big time.
Is that what you consider? Oh, I mean, yes,
That's
part of what
they are
do.
a big manufacturer of storage devices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is zoned storage? for
That's none of your
starters?
business.
Fair enough. Moving on.
Do you remember when SSD first came out and everybody was worried, like, oh, you can only write to it so many times. Eventually
right.
it wears out and
Yep.
spinning disk will last forever, even though they all fail after 3 years. But
right after the warranty, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
3 years. That's
Like
it.
clockwork.
So with SSDs, they do wear out. Now, the thing they kind of leave off is that it's after millions of writes, and for most people, it's a long time. I know for a fact I have one SSD in my house right now that I've been running for 10 years, and
Wow.
it's still not dead. So they can last a long time. But one thing they can do to extend their life is to make sure they're not writing to the same place over and over again, right? So they can write to different areas of the disk to spread the wear out and increase the lifetime. There's also some security features that can make use of this as far as dividing the disk up. And they do that by creating zones. So they take all of the memory that's addressable and they block it out into zones. Each one is assigned an identifier or a name, and so you can then write to it. Not a new technology idea. Like zones have been used in tons of things. Storage area networks use them like crazy. So that's not new. But what happened was the ZNS, you can actually see it from the operating system. So most of the stuff that happens on an SSD is completely hidden from the OS. It has no idea where it's writing on the disk. The hardware takes care of it. With ZNS, it's exposed, so the operating system can actually see it and influence where it's writing on the disk. But Samsung, Western Digital, Seagate, a couple of the different manufacturers out there all implemented this different ways. And because it was different, nobody wanted to support it. And so you didn't see widespread adoption of it. Well, Samsung and Western Digital teamed up and said, you know what? What if we just do the same thing? What if we don't do things differently? We do it the same way, and then maybe we'll get some support. And that's what we're seeing right here. So they've labeled it ZNS, or zoned namespaces. And if you get a Samsung disk or you get a Western Digital disk, they'll address it the same way, which means Microsoft Windows, Linux kernel, and other systems will be able to directly support that.
So standardization to the rescue.
Well, you still have all those other vendors out there.
That's true.
But at least
the more you start getting support for this, the more they're going to fall in line and go, if we want to sell our version of this,
right,
we have to at least make it compatible with the things that people are already used to.
If they can get Seagate and Toshiba on board, then that's it.
Forget it.
Now it's done.
It's done.
Yep.
Yeah, so I
How
was
do
trying
we
to think
do
who
that?
else it was. Yeah, so I mean, we're probably at like half the market right here.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, who doesn't want faster disks, right? We like that. That's good. I mean, I don't really see that, it doesn't like affect me too much in the way I use storage, but there's a lot of people that IOPS are a big deal, and speed is the name of the game, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, high-end storage like this, like all of Intel's Optane storage and all, has not been terribly popular. And I think it's because of standards like these that just don't exist. It's hard to implement. And so we'll see this evolve more over the next couple of years.
Yeah, nothing like hitching your wagon to somebody you don't know whether or not it's going to actually be the solution you need. Yeah. And then there's no competition. And if you do want to go to some competition, you got to retool the entire idea. It's just a pain.
Did we talk about this last week?
Like, yeah,
it
was like about how I was a HD DVD guy with my Zune.
Yeah,
like this is the future.
HD DVD was the better quality, correct?
I think that's what they say, but just Blu-ray had.
It was literally the Betamax of this generation, right?
Yeah, Betamaxes were bigger though too. Remember those things?
The device, not the tapes though. The tapes were small.
No,
yeah, the tapes were smaller.
Betamax were smaller than VHS,
and they had a higher quality.
Yeah, I remember.
It was marginal, but it was better quality.
Yeah.
A more high density tape, I believe it was.
Yeah. I remember when they first came out, HD DVD, you could store more data on a disc than Blu-ray. Not Blu. Yeah, Blu-ray.
Yeah. Therefore, you could have a higher quality.
It was just an issue of the fact that Sony was behind Blu-ray. I think that helped. And PlayStation.
My first HD DVD player was the one that came with the Xbox 360. And I bought that, and it came with King Kong with Jack Black.
Yeah.
Right? And we were having a Jack Black conversation before the show. And I put that thing in. It was meant to be kind of like this demo disc.
Yeah.
It was flipping amazing. I was like, this is insane.
Yeah, the future.
Yeah, it is right here in front of me.
When it was HD, it was like 720p.
It was 720p,
right?
yeah.
On your 19-inch CRT
I was
TV.
losing. No, I had a flat
plasma
screen.
back then?
That wasn't plasma, no.
Oh, the old flat screens that were like 300
I still
pounds.
have that television. It still works.
It's like a tube
It's
TV.
14 years old. No.
And
okay.
And
No,
it's
it was
still
LCD.
playing King Kong to this very day.
I just run it in a loop.
Yeah, remember
with
when they
Michael
switched
McDonald?
they switched to the flat TVs that were still 16 by 9, but were still tube, and
those were the
heaviest things.
DLPs.
DLP.
Those were DLP televisions.
No, those weren't a tube though, because that was a
They
projector.
weren't a tube, but it was a projector. Yeah.
Okay.
It looked like
That's
a tube.
what needed the space.
It had a large back. Yeah.
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 Those things were massive.
They did do a great picture
massive.
though. Yes,
Yeah.
they did.
All right. Speaking of some great pictures here from 9to5mac.com, Wyze Cam security flaw gave hackers access to video, went unfixed for almost 3 years.
Well, they're getting around to it.
We've made fun of FOSCAM for a while because everyone in China was watching you.
FOSCAM's like, oh, thank God.
Yeah. Did you hear about these guys? Yeah.
Oh,
We at least tried to patch our stuff, but the government wouldn't let us.
until we decided not to.
Yeah. But these cameras are a really popular one. I know that it's kind of like maybe a little lesser brand, a little cheaper on Amazon and stuff. So a lot of people pick these things up.
Yeah. Wyze cameras are incredibly popular. That's WYZE. If you go on Amazon and look for any kind of remotely accessible web-based, security camera type solution, you'll find Wyze in your search results for $35 to $50, like right in that range. You can get a camera that you just stick in your house. You plug it in power-wise. It connects over wireless, and now you can log into the web portal and see your house or see whatever it is you're doing with the camera. but it's cheap. And it's powerful if you think about it. Like it has to run a web server that does streaming video that you're able to access from the internet. That's a lot. And you're paying bottom dollar, $35 to $50. Like, what do you expect to get? If you compare that to like a Ring camera, where some of the Ring cameras are $100, $200. There's other. What's the one that we have in the lunchroom here?
I don't know.
It used to be called Drop Cam. Now it's called something else.
I have no idea.
I can't remember. But the Nest camera. Oh, actually, it is the Nest camera. It's the Nest that's in there. Yeah. Where these cameras are more like $100, $200, right?
Yeah.
And that's big companies. Nest is owned by Google. Ring is owned by Amazon. So if a big company can only get the price down to $100, but Wyze can get it down to $40, they got to be cutting corners
somewhere. Yeah.
Security.
And it's security. Yeah, the software is crap. And that's what we found with the FOSCAMs for years. This one's pretty interesting. Apparently, if you pop an SD card into one of these Wyze Cams, it immediately fires up a web server on port 80, so unencrypted, that does not require authentication. And anybody who can ping that camera can then browse and watch all the videos that are on the SD card.
So you can't necessarily view live on the camera, but you can or can you use that as a foothold then and work around in there?
That's the interesting part. Remember, there's 3 flaws here. One of the other flaws is that it writes its encryption key to the SD card.
The very SD card that you now have access to?
And that little web server that fires up doesn't just share the videos, it shares everything on the SD card. And so once you have that key, then you just have to find a way to intercept the traffic, and you can decode it to see the live stream. Also, it's a lot harder, but it can be done. The majority of this does actually require the attacker to be on the same network as the camera, so there's at least that little silver lining.
Protection.
But, Wyze, they dragged their feet on this, and in some of their cameras they've end-of-lifed, and they're not going to patch those.
But do we know they knew about it this whole time?
Oh, yes.
The article said they knew about it for 3 years.
Yeah, it was. They were notified, and there's somewhere they have the timeline in here where, like, the first one was patched pretty quickly.
Yeah, it says it took 6 months to fix one, 21 months to fix another, and 2 years to patch the SD flaw.
Yeah. So just know that if you're buying any kind of Internet of Things device, right, the less money you pay, the less you can trust that device. Like, it's just...
It sounds like these cheaper manufacturers, basically, if you let them know, hey, I may have found a security issue with your device, and you email them that information, they have like an Outlook auto reply of a middle finger. Is that how that's working?
Well, I always wondered. I wonder if there's a way we could figure this out. Maybe one of our listeners will know how to do it. But when you hear about these companies, like you go on Amazon and you search for a battery pack or something, and you find one that's Shen2 brand or something you've never even heard of. Like, can you find out how many employees a company like that has? How many employees does Wyze actually have?
Well, I think a lot of that, too, is like
12.
You've got the real factory. You've got, the Amazon factory that maybe isn't owned by Amazon, but that's making the Ring cameras. Then there's a second door out the back where they say, well, let's just sell some here because this, we can sell this directly as our own brand.
It's basically like a wiped version shell.
Scratch the word Ring off of it, and it's,
Put Shenzhen.
It seems, because a lot of you look at these products and there's 100 different products that all look identical and have 100 different brands. So I feel like it's stuff like that happening.
Yeah.
My guess is really small company probably contracted out the software development work. Mm-hmm. So, got it made up like that, and then they probably have to pay for updated maintenance.
They went on Fiverr.
And well, maybe, and then
get a jingle there.
Basically, at that point, anytime there's a security fix they have to do, it costs them money. They're already on a shoestring margin, so it just doesn't get done.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and if they're just basically looking at the numbers on how much money can we make until we have no choice but to pull the plug on these things, it might work out. And we go, well, we're still rich.
Well, we can fix this, or we can just change our company name again. Let's just change the company name.
Remember that horrible company that made those internet cameras?
Those guys.
Forget them.
Get this.
This is the new $40 leveler right here.
Well, I've got at home.
It's called Not Wyze.
I'm running some Huawei cameras.
Are you really?
Yeah, just and they're it's all secured with Kaspersky though, so I'm totally set now. No one's getting into my
you're good to go.
Network.
Good to go.
I'm just doing a quick test here. So I went on Amazon and I did a search for wireless camera. So that's my kind of search terms here.
Those Amazon cameras are.
Yeah, that Ring's going to come up first because they own it.
Yeah.
The first 4 that came up are all Blink cameras,
Blink.
which
Okay.
I think Blink is owned by Amazon. Not positive on that one, but I think they are. The 4th result is Smvinr, SMMVINNR. So, I've never heard of that company ever. That's not
Seems
even
legit.
Vowels cost extra. You know that.
Yeah.
So I don't trust that company to write secure software.
Oh man,
And
I want to buy one now.
I don't think I'm being
Why buy
biased
one
or
when you can just
whatever.
access someone
Somebody
else's?
else's. Hey, could you point your camera at my house a little better? A little left. There you go.
Can't see my driveway. Thank you.
The 5th result is, how do you pronounce this? DZEES. Z's? You have to be nuts.
Z's nuts.
Z's.
It's like, who's going to get there first?
All right. Just for our listeners, I'm not making that up. That totally
That's
is
legit.
there. But Wyze, it looks like it's in my 9th or 10th selection. It's actually listed as a top pick editorial recommendation, the Wyze Cam.
From Wyze Magazine.
Yeah.
All right.
A
Well,
subsidiary of Wyze International.
so maybe think twice about that, and don't use the SD card feature. For
Well,
sure.
what's so interesting? So, Don, you were talking about how there's this weird little thing about it where you have to be on the same network if you want to sniff the traffic. You can look at card data from external networks, and that is a security concern. So if you're saving information from the camera itself onto the card, then you could be exposing yourself.
Even that was still limited, right? Because you had to be able to get at the camera on port 80, right? So like,
but those things are like DNS usually.
Oh, if it had UPnP on your router, which I disable UPnP on
but
mine.
a lot of people don't because they want to go out to eat and see what the kids are doing.
Good point.
And so
I don't disable it because I don't know what it is.
But that's a live feed though, right? A lot of times they're not looking at saved information on the card.
Yeah.
So there's nothing really there. You can do that, but a lot of people don't do that. So there's still we don't want to kick Wyze while they're down.
No,
don't get me wrong. They're 3 years. You had plenty of time, But we don't want to make it more than it actually is either. Yeah. That's where, like, if I were able to access the live from over port 80 with no authentication, that would be a much more horrible concern than. Yeah. Now, if you're reusing cards, like if you grabbed some rando SD card you had laying around and plugged it in and it had data on it, guess who's reading that business?
What's scarier though, that the guy watching you is across the globe, in his living room, or that he is in your driveway, waiting to see when you fall asleep,
eating popcorn with a knife in his hand?
His eyes are closing.
Yeah, they're sleepy time.
All right, well, let's list written in lipstick.
Let's do this. We've got to talk about Who Got Pwned. We're going to look at some Deja news, but first, let's take a quick break and come back and cover those things in just a moment on Technado with Don Pizzette.
How do IT leaders stay on top of their game with the IT Pro TV webinar series? Twice per month, IT Pro TV presents a webinar on current topics in the IT world.
What are some of the key things we should be doing in our organization to make sure that we're prepared for disasters and that...
So what do you say we go ahead and get started with today's topic, how to train your end users to
threats. So we're going to talk about some of the major things that you need to do to help keep your people safe while they're working remotely.
You can catch IT Pro TV webinars live or watch on demand when your schedule permits. See them all. Visit itpro.tv/webinars today.
All right, welcome back to Technado with Don Pizzette's 250th episode extravaganza. Woo! Yeah. For those of you watching or just listening, we just had the confetti fall and the ball drop and the whole thing.
It was amazing.
And for those of you watching, don't tell the people listening that none of that happened.
Yeah, because the listeners, they don't even get to see the dance number.
No, they don't.
Yeah. What we should do is set up a Wyze camera in here.
And then they can see it.
There we go.
As we go. It's an easier way than paying for distribution. Just find the crappiest network and be like, well, you can just hack it.
You can just hack it.
All right, well, let's take a look this week at Who Got Pwned.
Looks like you're about to get pwned.
Fatality.
Yeah!
All right, this week there was a chimpanzee who was pwned, specifically MailChimp. They say an internal tool was used to breach hundreds of accounts, according to this TechCrunch article. And so internal tool, does that mean like inside job, or that someone hacked in and used their own systems against them somehow?
Not sure yet, right? They haven't actually caught the culprit on this one, but an inside tool. Do you guys remember the big Twitter hack from just a couple of years ago?
Yeah, when they went after like Biden and like some of the top accounts.
Yeah. So they got access to the tool that the support team used, the administrators, that they could reset passwords and gain access to accounts. Well, that's exactly what happened here, is that outside attackers got access to the administrative tools that manage the MailChimp service. Now, if you're not familiar with MailChimp, who am I kidding? I think everybody is.
Under a rock. Yeah.
Half the spam you get comes from
MailChimp.
No, I shouldn't say that. That's not fair.
Spam chimp. Chimp spam.
Yeah. MailChimp is an email service. It's getting hard to reliably deliver email to somebody's mailbox. And it might be a legitimate email. Like we use it for password resets on our site, where if you fill out a password reset form, then you get an email with a link to go and change your password.
That's from MailChimp?
Well,
us?
Pretty sure. SendGrid. SendGrid is the other one.
Okay.
MailChimp, SendGrid, Mailgun, those are some of the big ones that are out there.
MALE?
MAIL.
Mailgun. Yeah.
Yeah, because this website is different. Mailgun.
Yeah.
I bet it is.
So basically, they try and reliably send email. They do retries, and if you end up on a spam list or whatever, they help you remediate that. So marketers use it a lot, and developers who need their applications to send email, because it's hard not to end up on a spam list if you're sending even legit email.
Remember when we used to have a computer here called the Spam Bot?
Yep.
That was a mistake, I feel like.
Yeah. Which wasn't really its purpose, but it's kind of...
It sent out lots of emails. Yeah.
Sending out lots of
But,
emails.
a provider like this, somebody who specializes in sending email, is like the ultimate privacy target for an attacker. When they can get in, they could get lists of millions upon millions of valid email addresses. It would be marketing cold. That's not what happened here. In this case, though, the attackers were specifically targeting cryptocurrency companies. So while they did break in and technically had full access to all of MailChimp's customers, they only dialed in on about 300 customers that were all in some way associated with cryptocurrencies. They harvested the emails from over 100 of those accounts, and now that they've got them, they're starting to basically craft phishing attacks on those people. They know these are people that deal with cryptocurrency. Let's try and exploit them and be able to get some untraceable funds, which we know aren't exactly untraceable, but
we like them anyway.
Yeah.
So were they actually then sending emails from the MailChimp system that were on behalf of those companies?
So hard to prove. They didn't send email through MailChimp at all.
Okay.
So it was all harvesting data. But phishing emails have been going out to lists that appear to correlate to the list from MailChimp. Okay. So it's reasonably safe to say that, yes, they are actively exploiting those lists.
Fun.
It is a good time, right? Well, they said they're triaging pretty well, though, saying that they immediately revoked those API keys that they were stolen, so that they couldn't continue to send out email from it.
But that data's out, so I mean it's...
Well, the list is out, so you're going to start getting more spam or whatever, but that's why your spam filters are going to learn, hey, don't take email from this person.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see what their notification response will be. So far, it's not good because it's already been a week at this point, I think, since they detected it.
I think I only heard about it yesterday or the day before.
I thought they detected it earlier.
First reported by Bleeping Computer came out over the weekend. Was that
March
this last week? That would have been the weekend before.
March 26th?
March 26th.
Yeah. So, that was a weekend. That was a week ago. Yeah.
So basically,
get on it, MailChimp.
MailChimp is legally beholden to their customers, so they have to notify their customers. But because they're an email agency, they maintain email data on everyone just about. I can guarantee the three of us are in some MailChimp list somewhere.
But because we don't do cryptocurrency, no one cared.
Maybe, right? Or maybe I'm a giant cryptocurrency.
Yeah, you don't know that. I'm super into fungible tokens. Just fungible tokens.
Just NFTs.
Yeah, no, just FTs. I just do the fungible ones. Yeah, I share them with
He only likes fungibles.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, do they need to notify us? Like, if one of us, if our data was harvested, would they have to notify us? Because we're not their customer. We're their victim, target.
Right, because we're not directly there. Like, I don't pay for a MailChimp account.
Right.
But my data is in their servers, therefore.
I didn't agree to a terms of service with them.
In Europe, that very well may be true, right? Because of GDPR.
Yeah.
And
they would be considered a sub-processor.
Right.
So the actual processor would be whichever cryptocurrency company you did business with. So would the notification need to come from them?
Yeah, do they have an onus then to...
And so we'll see, but potentially this could be a huge email list. Now, MailChimp doesn't exactly maintain sensitive data. Like, they don't have credit card information on all
email
of us.
Accounts and API keys for programmatic access.
Yeah, and that's about it. So it's not like Equifax level bad, but it's spam bad.
It's spam bad. Do y'all even check your email anymore?
Now we've got that focused and
I
box.
turn that crap off.
I turn that off, yeah.
Okay, yeah, because
that is annoying.
Just notifications from Shortcut, which we use as like a kind of like a Jira, kind of app. We're all going in there. And then a lot of...
I've noticed that everything important that I needed to see went somewhere else.
It's like, I don't know how it's picking what to go in that folder or not.
Whatever it deems would be the most important thing you need to see.
It's weird choices it was making.
I turn that focus inbox off.
So I can do that.
And I have Outlook rules that I have slowly crafted like a bonsai tree over the years to immaculate... I mean, Mr. Miyagi levels.
I'm there with you, brother.
I'm guessing that Don sent out an email to the company of how to disable that focus thing, and I'm guessing it went to the focused box, and I never saw it.
No, we didn't send an email because the first time you go in there, it says "Welcome to your Focus Box," and you can turn it off right there.
I thought it was a feature. I thought it was a feature. It's like, oh, thank you.
Yeah, it was like off.
You left it in.
Why not try it? And then-
Sucks to be you.
Yeah.
Technology's hard.
We have sold your data to everyone now. All right. Well,
Can I get a cut of that? I mean,
yeah, you should. No, I think that goes right to Don's pocket.
oh, dang it.
All right. Well, let's take a look at something that we have covered before, but we've got some updates in this week's Deja News.
Deja News.
Sounded like she said deja poop.
She did. Yeah. All right. This one is from ArsTechnica.com. Mystery solved in destructive attack that knocked out more than 10,000 Viasat modems. Acid rain is the seventh wiper associated with the Russian invasion of Ukraine. What does that have to?
Somebody's been watching too much Hackers.
Acid rain has some capitalizations here, so that's not. We're not talking about the actual rain.
It is not.
are we?
Yeah.
It's been dissolving. The modems.
My satellite dish was all melted away.
People don't worry about acid rain anymore.
It's
Remember,
not a thing anymore.
Yeah.
Is it not a thing?
Yeah.
Or did we just predict it wrong? Because in the 80s and stuff, you're like, yeah, acid
Well,
rain.
remember the hole in the ozone? Where'd that go?
You know, melt your face
Still
off.
there, but they're like,
It fixed.
what the hell?
It fixed itself. It's
Well,
gone.
Oh, they banned CFCs,
I stopped
right?
using
Isn't that what
hairspray.
happened?
I don't know.
Aquanet changed to
The 80s stopped and Aquanet became out of
hairband stopped.
Yeah. This is the whole purpose of grunge.
That'll do it.
How amazing would that be if it was actually like scientifically measurable that hairbands affected that?
Yeah. It's like at a poison.
Hey,
the whole
chaos
ozone
theory
is,
would say that they did.
is right above this poison concert.
Yeah, it's weird.
And it moves as
Just
their
following their tour bus. Yeah.
All right, so what's this one all about?
Crew is right here.
I don't remember talking about these Viasat modems. So what was the original story?
All right. Well, this might have been one of the you mentioned articles. I sometimes have to cut out because we don't have a room. I might have cut this one out because
So we're doing Deja News about something we didn't.
Maybe.
Deja.
It's the Mandela effect, right?
Yeah.
So-
Sinbad was in this. Right?
Yeah.
He was a genie.
Yeah.
You may have heard that Russia has invaded Ukraine. So this occurred over a month ago.
What's a Russia?
Yeah.
Yeah, did we cover that?
And in the beginning, people's internet started going out, and roughly it was somewhere around 10,000 Viasat customers. These are satellite internet customers had their service just shut off and couldn't figure out what
we're not
happened.
talking about in Ukraine.
And the majority were in Ukraine.
They were,
Yes.
okay,
Yep.
okay.
But there were some outside as well. Like you can't do targeted attacks anymore.
Yeah, it's very difficult. Yeah.
Well, here I am jumping to the attack button, right? Because in the beginning, they didn't know if it was an attack or just a screw up on Viasat's part, right? And so the research
It was a
started.
firmware update that went horribly awry.
It could happen. I mean, we've seen it.
It's been known, yeah.
So here we are a month later, and they finally had a chance to dig in and identify that a wiper was used. And a wiper in this case is not like a windshield wiper, but a...
It's people that pick their nose and come by you.
God, I hate those people.
Golly.
Yeah,
Eat it
biohazard.
like a human.
Yeah.
But in this case,
COVID got started.
it's virus or malware that erases your computer, right? It erases the hard drive. And we've seen some ransomware that's like that, where instead of encrypting your system, it just erases it and you're screwed. Those are not normally used by the extortionists that we see on a regular basis. They're used by attackers. And so the theory was that Russia was doing a cyber attack on Ukraine to shut off internet access. Well, they've had a chance to analyze the malware that was used, and they have some circumstantial evidence that ties it back to Russia. But we can't say that for certain. But what we can say for certain is it wasn't just a bad firmware update. It was a malicious cyber attack. It was specially crafted malware that was designed to shut down these Viasat modems.
Is the majority of the Ukrainian population using Viasat?
10,000, right? Ukraine's
Right.
population is...
11
it's like
million
100
or
million or something.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Is it that much?
It's-
I
that's
thought
a
it
lot.
was. Hang on, let's find out.
Seems
It's
like
a
a lot.
small little country. I'm gonna
find
say
I'd say a 4 or 5 million.
40 million.
44 million.
44
okay.
million. Okay.
Still, 44 million,
Right.
10,000 modems.
So this is a drop in
right?
the bucket.
It's not gigantic. And
Right.
think about here in the U.S., like how many of us are on satellite internet versus cable
Right.
or
Just
fiber
Ronnie,
or
right?
whatever.
Is it just Ronnie?
It's just
Ronnie, yeah. So,
Still waiting for Starlink to show up.
Well,
So this was-
how many Starlinks came into Ukraine and probably
1,000 in the initial shipment. I know they've sent
Oh, that
more
was it?
since then.
Yeah.
But what's interesting here is that the attack was based or was targeting the modem, right? And I think about my house, right? So I've got fiber through AT&T, and so there is a AT&T modem / transceiver, and that it comes in fiber, runs that. I don't trust that device because it's AT&T's, and then behind it is my equipment that I do trust, which is secured, right? So I keep my equipment up to date. I know it's configured securely. But if an attacker targeted my fiber modem, I don't trust that device. They could shut it down and I'd be out of internet, right?
Yeah, they can't get onto your network, but they could shut
just
down
block
your
it.
network. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would assume if it's a wiper program, that's what it was meant to do anyway, is knock you off the internet. That was why, like, it doesn't really seem like it would be a great attack unless, a couple of weeks after where we saw many multiple. I mean, again, it's just not enough to be a good attack, right?
Yeah, but in war, the
seem-
first thing you do is you disable communication systems and
Yeah,
things
but
like that,
you're
so.
not. You're so Billy the farmer out here doesn't get internet. Big whoop.
You see that farmer
you need
take
to go
the tank
after,
on his.
You need to go after infrastructure, right? The main. You're going to go after Ukrainian government, transportation, communications. That's where you're going to go. Not Viasat satellite customers.
I'd like to think, let's try and think positive, right? That maybe this was part of a much larger cyber attack that the Ukrainians were
failed.
just able to defend
Yeah,
against.
this was the part that worked. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it was minimized. But it made me wonder, and I wanted to ask you, Daniel, because I do take the time to harden like my router, stick a firewall in the network, secure things, but I don't pay much attention to my modem. So have you heard of or seen guides or anything on people hardening their modem?
I haven't seen. I've heard of people doing it when they have the ability to do so because, like you say, most of it is rented equipment that you have very little purview into. They don't really want you fiddling with it a whole lot.
Yeah.
They like it the way they like it, and that way they get consistency with their customer base. And if something goes wrong, it's a handful of things. If those things don't work, you probably just got a busted piece of equipment. They replace it. It's easy button for them, right? Because it's all about making money. So if you are hardening your modem, you're most likely you purchased your own DOCSIS 3 or whatever from Best Buy, and you're coming in. And that, yes, absolutely, people do responsible disclosure on that. Bug bounty programs are available for those hardware hackers that are out there trying to figure out, hey, what services is it running? Is there any vulnerabilities to said services? Or are there just any kind of like security misconfigurations that are out of the box? You get CVEs for that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you've got a port 80 open that gives you access to the SD card. How about that? I can write that up, disclose that. I get a CVA, good for me. And you just got to be willing to go out and buy the new equipment that comes out and test it, find that stuff, and then make a hardening guide if you're so inclined. And there's companies out there, the manufacturers probably would come up with some sort of if they're so inclined again.
Yeah.
Man, it just depends. You got to trust that vendor.
What do you have at home? What is your internet connection?
Are you socially engineering?
I use Spectrum.
So it's cable?
It's cable, yeah.
So
you
you
can have
got
your
like
own
a
modem.
Motorola.
It's not Motorola. It's actually.
Do you have the one from-
I think
I'll
Aris
I'll tell
is
you what
Motorola.
it is. I don't care.
Do you have the one from the cable company though, or did you buy your
it's
own?
the one from cable company. I want to go to Dondra. I've only lived in the house I'm in for a few months, so it's just
But you're
moving in.
When you've got the fiber, you're kind of limited in using their modem, right?
I
up
am.
to internet connectivity.
Yeah. But I'm saying like I have cable too, and you could use theirs that they give you, or you can buy your own modem.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna sound like the smarmy tech guy because our fiber line got cut this weekend for the third time.
I was about to say, didn't it?
Yeah, it just got cut. So they repaired it yesterday afternoon. So this afternoon we're getting gigabit, or it's actually already turned on, the gigabit copper through cable.
Yeah.
And we're just gonna have 2 internet connections now.
You got redundancy.
I'm tired of losing that connection.
You
and
should get this
so-
Viasat. Hey, that's not bad.
Good backup.
I mean, your area sounds impoverished enough where maybe Elon Musk will bring in Starlinks for free.
Yeah. Maybe if you make a
He's like, I've heard
TikTok.
about your plea.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Your plight.
We're stuck eating like Wendy's and stuff.
Because I couldn't DoorDash.
Oh yeah, what the hell? I had to actually leave my house.
That's difficult. Well, I hardened my modem by putting it in
concrete on
the
it?
furnace, and then I dipped it into hot oil
There you go.
to quench it and harden it.
That's exactly it's good
Well,
hardness.
that's
like
process.
What's the
vulcanizing?
Rockwell? What's the Rockwell hardness on that?
I don't know. but
That's
it
forging.
Doesn't,
That sounds like a
metal
bad
forging.
joke.
It does not work anymore. I know
It
that.
does not work anymore.
Rockwell, is that the guy that did
Yeah.
I Always
Yeah.
Feel? All right. He has his own index?
And then Michael Jackson actually made
Yeah.
that song popular.
Yeah.
Quincy's
All right.
like, listen, this is gonna suck. Mike,
Couple
hook
things.
a brother up.
We were talking about replacing CentOS before, and that's a webinar we've got coming up.
Yeah, yep.
Later this month, we're going to talk about which option you should go with. So we'll get a little bit more into Rocky and Alma and all of those things. But the next webinar we have is Thursday, April 7th. which is today, the day that this very episode comes out. It is choosing the right Linux distro in 2022 with Don and Daniel here. So we'll go through all those new options that you have and the good old favorites that are still reliable and you'll want to choose. You can head over to itpro.tv/webinars to register for that if you're watching ahead of time, or head over there still and you can get notified when the archive of it is up, so you can still watch it after the fact. And you can register for all the upcoming webinars there, or see all the ones that have been archived before. Also, head over to technado.com. We asked for some listener mail. What did you ask, Don? If people would tell us...
Mama jokes.
Well, yeah, no, but there was something today.
Mama
You said...
jokes.
all right, jokes about Don's mom. Always welcome.
Always welcome.
Specifically Don's.
Specifically done.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, there was something I asked. I don't remember
Yeah,
what it
you
was,
said
though.
tell us what zoned hard drive... No, tell us what Wyze security cam...
I'll have to watch it in the replay.
Tell us what MailChimp
You weren't listening either, Don?
Yeah. Probably you tell us your favorite scene in Top Gun.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's probably what it was.
Yeah, or your favorite Cold War movie.
Yeah, that'd be
let
a
us
good
know
one.
that, and we'll definitely bring that up.
Cold War movie.
Maybe
Definitely
we'll
Under
send you-
Siege.
Yeah,
With
Under
Steven
Siege
Seagal.
2 is my
By
favorite.
Dawn's early light.
Right. Well, 2 was the boat, right?
Yeah. No, that was the first one.
Oh, that was the first
The
one?
train
Oh,
was
okay,
the
the train
second
was
one.
second. That was terrible. Okay.
Casey Ryback.
But yeah, if we mention your stuff, we'll send you a Technado t-shirt. How about that? So get that stuff sent in. So head over to technado.com for that. You can also hit the big orange button in the corner that says sponsored by IT Pro TV, and you can get a 30% off coupon code for the lifetime of your personal membership to IT Pro TV. You can also request a team trial for all the great features available to teams from IT Pro TV. So check that out. All right, guys, happy 250th, and say goodbye to the studio. I think we're gonna light it on fire as we exit. Right? Is that-
Yep.
That sounds like a great idea.
I got the pump sprayer full of kerosene
Perfect.
ready to go.
All right, we're going to do that, and then we'll have painted on eyebrows next week, probably, for the first episode.
I hope those kids survive.
Yeah. There's kids in here?
Well, Melissa and Ian.
Oh, yeah, what do you think's in
I'm
this
thinking
furnace?
Melissa and Ian,
Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you so much to Melissa, our producer back there. This is not her 250th as
No,
well. She
no,
joined
it's not.
probably...
Like a couple of days ago, right?
Yeah, in maybe the 210s, 220s, I'm not sure. But thank you to Ian, who does our sound as well. I'd like to thank my parents for
Thank God.
for not believing in me. They were right.
We should do the photo gallery thing where you play a Sarah McLachlan song. And it
Yeah.
shows Justin.
Oh, it's like
Courtney.
I was like,
Everybody
how many people
that's
died on the
gone,
show that I
yeah.
don't know about? Oh, okay. Yeah, old
The eyes of an
producers,
angel.
old guests and hosts. Yeah, we'll do that next week. Maybe that'll be one of those segments, and the people just listening just get to hear Sarah McLachlan, which is always a treat.
I didn't know they got the rights to this.
Yeah,
What's wrong with the animals?
yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for joining us for 250. We'll see you for the next 250 right here on Technado with Don Pizzette.